We're in Cuba, guys, the island of freedom as they call it, where they barter and buy goods on the black market, where they have their own peculiar internet, where you might get swindled, but where people are honest and generous. This isn't the Cuba you'll see on the tour or read about in a guidebook. Today, we look at the real Cuba. My name is Stas Natanzon. Let's go. This part of central Havana is called Vedado, which means restricted. In colonial times, there was a forest here where it was forbidden to hunt in case the Spanish king decided to visit and felt like hunting. Then, after independence, they started rapidly developing this area, building incredibly expensive luxurious villas, like this one behind me. Construction peaked in the 30s during the Prohibition when American mobsters started building. There was also a lot of activity in the 40s and 50s, but today, almost 60 years after the revolution, it's just like a huge museum, a monument to the rich and easy times Cuba used to have. Today, most of these luxurious villas are home to the Cuban poor, the so-called salares. There's something quite interesting here. Let's go upstairs and start from there. Look at this, guys. We're in one of the villas in central Havana. A majestic old mansion. Just look at the elaborate plasterwork. But that's not why we're here. Here's the fascinating thing. This was once a luxurious mansion. This spacious hall was perhaps their living room. But right on the inside of this room, there's now these stone boxes. These tiny living cells for the poor. Most salares are just slums built right into old palaces and villas. Can I film inside? A bit inside? No. Not inside? In the end, she lets me film anyway. We're going in, guys. Let's see what living space here looks like. No, stop. Can't go any further. But again, this is a house inside a room in what used to be a large mansion. I give the woman some money for letting us film here. And look what she does with it. She carefully folds the note and literally crosses herself with it. The people here rarely see money. Just surviving on the rations they get from the government. Sometimes, yeah, you're just like tearing your hair out. But you always pulled through, you know, find a way. Get some coffee here, some sugar there, something. The community helps, you know. Like, hey, lend me 10 pesos, I need to pay there. And we all do. We say that's the way it all works. That's really the key of how we are in Cuba. It's helping each other. So like tomorrow, I tell you, hey, I've made some soup, come join. And you know that. Great, I don't have to buy food today. So you can save some money for another day. It's solidarity, you know? The best thing about us Cubans, we support each other. Like, hey, come have a coffee, or I got some beans, have some. And so you something to eat. That's how Cubans make it. And still, even living as poor as they do, they try and keep it decent. Like, for example, decorating houses with potted plants. So surreal. Walking down the street inside a building. Look, this one's a house, and there's another house, and all inside a bigger house. First time I've seen something like that. How many families live here? Here? 7 families in this room. Used to be a painting on the ceiling, right? This used to be some sort of grand mansion? Yeah, for rich folks. Rich folks' mansion. How many years ago? Centuries ago. And now there's many families living here. Poor families. No riches left. No. Just poverty. Look, somebody's built a little fence here. Made a patio of sorts. Seems like it's these 2 families. Nice. Even among the poor, there's different classes. There's poor, and then there's poor with their own patio. On top there are water tanks, because in Havana, only the wealthy neighborhoods and tourist areas have running water. Salares get their water quotas on a fixed schedule. These places, They're great photo material, guys, but you gotta be careful in here. Firstly, you could easily get busted by the police, because taking photos here damages the images of socialism. Solara's existing doesn't, but taking pictures of them does. And secondly, the locals themselves could be none too happy. There are plastic bags drying on the large balcony. Remember how we too used to watch plastic bags? Leave a comment below if you do. The space between two antique columns is blocked by junk. Behind this wall, there's another flat. Let's step into one of those. Look at the beautiful tile work and the rocking chairs. Likely relics left from the old days. But look how low the ceiling is. That's because there's another story on top, so it's a 2-story little flat. And an old telly, showing the news, of course. The cooker's definitely looking like it's on its way out. But look how tidy it's kept. There are flowers here, and everything's kept very neat. This house used to be some rich guy's place. Yeah. So where are they now? Who were they? They're long gone now. Dead. This house is almost completely collapsed. And still, there's people living here. Hola. This old lady tells us that she goes to sleep every night afraid that the ceiling's going to collapse on her. But for her and her old man, there's nowhere left to go. The rest of the house is already crumbled. Yeah, this was once a nice house. Had a patio. Up there, look, the mosaic's beautiful. Must have been a bathroom there, but the floor is collapsed. The crazy thing is that there's still people living in the remaining rooms over there. Yeah, many homeowners would have actually restored them on their own, if only they had cement and bricks. But you can't just go and buy building materials in Cuba. Cement and bricks are in very short supply. You can't get any. Strange, isn't it? I mean, you'd think bricks are just hardened clay. But hey, that's Cuba, baby. There's lots of really beautiful mansions in Cuba like this one, but they're mostly run down and abandoned. This one it seems they are restoring, but it could be years before it's finished, if ever. Let's take a look inside this run-down mansion. Look at these magnificent marble stairs. Pity that some have already cracked. Just look how beautiful it is here. This is the roof of one of the abandoned mansions in the center of Havana. They'd have had parties up here, on the patio, and this absolutely breathtaking view, a church somewhere in the distance. This obviously used to be some rich folks' place. I doubt, though, that they're still in Havana, or even in Cuba at all. The patio even had its own bathroom, with a quality marble bathtub. There's photos in here. The official photograph of Queen Elizabeth. All the photos are of the British royals. Guys, this is newspaper cuttings, and all of them about the royal family. Maybe the person living here was somehow connected to the royals. These cuttings are spread out in time. Look, and this one. And they're all about the royals. So either the people living here were obsessed with the royals, or maybe this mansion belonged to a member of the royal family or high-aristocracy. A royal wedding in Britain. I still have no idea why there were so many photos of the royals there. So leave me a comment if you've any thoughts on that. Cuba, and Havana in particular, is really, really clean. Look, I specifically went to an ordinary, non-central area. Look at the streets. Yeah, they're a bit shabby. But there's no rubbish. The streets kept clean. Also, Cuba is really, really safe. Especially considering how really, really unsafe the rest of Latin America is. You know, Cuba reminds me of an elderly university professor. He may not have a lot of money anymore and he can't buy new stuff, but he still preserves his dignity and self-respect. Some say that Cubans live so poorly because they're lazy. They don't work much. They just have fun, fiesta, parties, and so on. Lazy people, in short. But guys, how the hell is this lazy? It's 7 a.m. and look, people are queuing up here. There's some chicken getting thrown out. So you queue up here for God knows how long, then you get into that queue, that one's for bread. You run, pick up the chicken, then run, pick up some bread, then run somewhere else to pick up some butter, if you're lucky enough that some shop nearby is throwing some out. And you run home to feed the children. And after all that, you still gotta be at work by 9 a.m. At work, yeah, okay, you're barely working, because you're barely getting paid. But at work, you have to run your second job, your third, your fourth, etc., just to get by. Because the money they're paying you at your official job is not enough to cover anything. Cubans are not lazy at all. In fact, they're probably the hardest working people I've ever met. Simply because they have to hustle every second of their lives just to survive. The thing about Cubans being lazy just isn't true. Look at the Cubans abroad. They work hard and they work a lot. But the thing is, Cubans here do feel frustrated and unhappy about their jobs. Because the money they earn doesn't cover anything they need. I work hard, but I don't get anything for it. I can't help my family, or take them on a holiday to Vinales. But that's just my case, and I'm a trained professional. I'm a mechanical engineer. I work hard, but I live, I live worse than a school kid who speculates on the street. How much do you make? How much? I'll tell you. 4,410 pesos a month. 4,400? Not even enough for meat. If you go for meat, a pound is 250 pesos. So if today I buy meat, tomorrow I go hungry. So how do you manage it? How do you get food? It's complicated, It's like magic. You come up with something. Telling it all, it's too sad, really. But you see, I think people might start writing to me like, Stas, you said that everything in Cuba is expensive and the wages are very low, so how come people are still buying it? Alright, look, there's these infamous supply booklets, right, for food rations. They're still there. The government's still thinking it's a good idea. So this food, most times it can help you hang on. You can buy that for very cheap. There's not much on the list, but it helps stretch your paycheck a bit further. Just a bit. And maybe if you borrow some from friends, you can just about survive. Get by till the payday. And then you give back what you owe, and it starts all over again. Guys, I know we usually prefer the colourful slums, but in Cuba, I really wanted to see how the middle class live here. This is the house of well-to-do pensioners whose kids support them from abroad. So again, not a poor household, the middle class. Lots of old things everywhere. Life has taught Cubans to be frugal. Look, cracked tiles went on a sink. This is all old family things, my mother's, and we're still using them. This is the house of Rebecca and Fernando. She's an artist and he has a political blog. And this shelf stand I got from my friend when she was leaving Cuba. And the cabinet is from 1925, bought by my grandmother. It used to be a bedroom dresser, but I use it in the kitchen. This fridge was made in the US, a 1949 Admiral. It still works great. People from the Committees for the Defense of Revolution came and suggested I swap it for a Cuban one. But I said no. They said, but Sonora, it eats up a lot of power, but that's my choice. I pay the bills. So I said I wasn't going to swap it, and I didn't. And now I have my clients, the tourists, asking me to take pictures with it. They say, when was it made? And I say, 49. And it's still working?
Still working, yes. I myself am from 39, and still working fine.
This, guys, is so characteristic of Cuba. A restaurant with no food. I mean, there's literally nothing at all here. But the funny thing is that the waiters are still serving. It's still open. This, of course, is because it's state-owned. There's a lot of them here. And this one just stopped getting the supplies for some reason. Could be there's a shortage of food, could be someone kind of forgot about the lorry fleet delivering it here. But the people, they must have a job. So they're still going to work every day to this empty restaurant where they sit and wait all day long. Why do you keep working when there's nothing in the restaurant? Yeah, ask our president that. And this is an empty shop. There's not even any token goods, just for show at least. But the two sales girls are on their posts behind the counter, ready to serve the customers. Hi, do you have water? Just water. Where can I buy water without queuing for hours? Hi, go right ahead. No queues here. Yeah, but there's no water here either, is there? Okay. See the private cafe opposite? They almost always have water there. You hear that? They almost always have water. Yep. Let's take another look around this perfectly empty shop. Look, there's another 3 people working, so in total, 5 salespeople in an empty shop. Perfect. But listen, your government's saying that millions of Cubans, they're making it here, they just find a way. They have food, the government's providing them with food. These booklets, you know, the libretta, they're giving you food. Come with me, let me show you. You know what I mean, Cubans get by. Follow me, come, you'll see. Yeah. That's pretty much the whole of our house. Sorry for the mess. Where's the rice? Here. That's the rice. That's what they gave me yesterday. That's what libretta gets you. And this. Beans of some sort. And there's the sugar. And that's all for the month. Wait, isn't that for the week? No, it's for a month. For a month, yeah. For a whole month. That's all the food we have for the month. Want to know how much it cost us? 135 pesos. This chicken, this wasn't part of it. I bought myself on the black market. Cost me 400 pesos. Alright, okay. So explain this to me. How do people still live here then? Millions of Cubans coming here. How? They're not living. They're surviving. Surviving, you understand? This isn't life. Every day they're just trying to get by till the evening. Always trying to find some side hustle just to make some money. And then you run to a shop hoping there's something to buy. Then you wait in line to snatch some chicken, hoping you could sell it for more. Is this living? This isn't life.
Las heridas en mi cuerpo rastrillan, combinado en billetes así. Los cristales blindados no brillan y la sangre manchando el papel. Si la vida depende de llegar a la muerte y ser un soldado seré.
Not sure if you can see or hear me. The lens has been splashed a bit. The wind's unbelievable. But guys, it's so awesome here. So beautiful. The people are so great. This, look, it's the Malecon. Just gorgeous. The waves are crashing against the cliffs. It's so warm and sweet here. You come here to Havana and you quickly forget about all these hardships, these queues, all of it. You're just talking with these people, just enjoying how incredible this place is. Ah, Cuba.
Las heridas en mi cuerpo rastrillan, combinado en billetes así. Los cristales blindados no brillan y la sangre manchando el papel. Si la vida depende de llegar a la muerte y ser un soldado seré. Y lo oscuro me embriaga con suerte leal y morir no volver a nacer. Soldado de la oscuridad leal hasta la muerte. Sicario de las almas que se puren por romperme. Esclavo del gatillo y tú me dices ya. Traicionale atrás y chaca pa' que te vaya. No creo en sicario, no creo en la muerte. Me dan un disparo que sé en la frente. Que son millonarios, que no te lo cuente. Que gasto en la puta, que soy delincuente. Comprendo la vía que oscure mi mente. Un cuadro de tortilla, me chupo los dientes. Me matan a palos, peleo de frente. No digo mentira, que no te lo inventes. Que ando borracho, que fumo con pipa. Me rindo en el popo, bonito la tiza. Salimos de popo y a poco vivimos, somos un gramo. Y la realidad de la vida se da de las manos. No creo en la ciencia. cristiano creo en la gloria, que cuando me plomo no tengo memoria. Revisa la cuenta de tu calendario, arriba de tu cara me fumo un cigarro, en temperatura como ya que pato.